Play by Play Gaming here, back with another Epic 7 video, and today we got Yulha in regular arena and RTA, and for the most part, I actually really like her for what she is, right? So she is an RGB knight, she is a grass unit, and she's meant to get almost one-shotted, right? She's meant to take a lot of damage, she's meant to bait out Hwayoung or fire units. And so that's what we tried to do, right? We wanted to see whether she was going to be good at her job or not. And so in arena, it's actually pretty easy just to bait the AI, right? Because you bring in a grass unit, Hwayoung's going to go for it. But then that's kind of the thing, right? Now there's this huge exodus of Hwayoungs. Hwayoung is no more in regular arena, or from what I've seen before in the past, it was just like every single unit that you saw on defense, or every single team that you saw on defense had Hwayoung in it, right? And now with Yulha, it's kind of caused a shift, right? And so that's kind of the thing. But I mean, she's really good against Hwayoung because if you can build her, I would say at least 25k and up, right? Depending on where you are in arena, right? You can definitely bring in another knight with her. You'll see here we brought in Crow. We did end up putting Yulha on Arias just because she's kind of like Crow, right? She wants to take damage. You want to lower her HP enough so that she can potentially one-shot a unit. So we did end up giving her some more molas on the S3 and the S1 just so we can see the full damage that she can deal. We still have her on a pretty much same build as the last video. I think she's like 29k HP, 200 speed. And you'll see this Hwayoung here hit for like 21k. And so that's kind of the thing, right? Depending on how the Hwayoung is built, vigor plus attack buff. I think one of the fights that we got hit with, the Hwayoung pretty much did, I think, like almost 32k. And we'll see that here in a little bit. But great as a secondary knight in regular arena. You can slap Arias on her, you can slap Elbrus on her. But I think in this one, we don't deal enough damage to kill. And so you'll see we go into the APOC, she's on proof, she has vigor, and we only deal 11k damage, and that's pretty much GG for us, right? So we gotta bring in other units. She's great against squishies, right? Even some units that have a higher HP pool, like C.Lilias, Hand Guy, but you gotta remember she needs to be close to dying, right? And so that's one thing that I really kind of don't like, is that you have to be in that sweet spot of her getting hit hard enough, but not hard enough to where she just gets one shot. You'll see here that Hwayoung with attack buff and vigor got hit with 31k, almost 32k. All right, so the good thing here is we did bring ARavi, so she's able to revive with close to 0 HP. And you'll see here, we go into the Hwayoung, okay? We go into the Hwayoung and we still don't kill. We only do 8k damage. 8k damage with that amount of HP. So it's one of those where if you're not low enough, you're probably not gonna kill. But I mean, for the most part, she baited the Hwayoung. She kind of did her job here. We can kind of finish up with the STene here. We can soul burn and take out the rest of the units. But for the most part, I mean, she's doing her job, right? She's doing her job. She's baiting out the fire units. She's taking damage, and then she can potentially one-shot with her S3. I think that some of the fights that we started seeing, or some of the defense teams, had an attack buffer and C.Lilias, right? So that way the Hwayoung gets attack buff, vigor, and can potentially one-shot the Yulha. Unless you have her like 35k, but even then, you want her to proc that malicious smile or malicious intent, whatever her S2 is called, because you want her to get a CR push, you want her to get a barrier. Here, we're able to go into the Rimuru, 20k into that Rimuru, which is actually pretty nice, able to one-shot them, and then we can kind of clean up house with the rest of the units. In the next one here, it's the same thing. You'll see going up against Hwayoung, she's gonna be, I think, one of the best units as a fire bait, right? In GVG, in regular arena, In RTA though, not so much. But I mean, I'm fine with that. I think we needed some type of answer to Hwayoung on defense like GVG and regular arena. Now with just her existence, Hwayoung is pretty much gone, right? She's completely gone from regular arena defenses, but who knows what we'll see next. We tried to bring her in RTA, but she pretty much did nothing. Now they're kind of forcing us to play RTA in those prelim matches. So there's like an event going on right now where if you play the E7 World Championship prelim mode, you'll get some energy. If you play a match, you get 50 energy. If you win, you get 100 energy. So we said, why not? Let's test out Yulha and let's see what she can do. But she kind of just sits there, right? The biggest thing that I feel she brings in RTA is her S1. So her S1 is a 100% chance to provoke and a redirected provoke, which is pretty solid because even if she dies, the provoke stays on. So it's kind of like the better provoke, right? It stays on and it makes whoever you hit with that redirected provoke get locked down for at least one turn. And other than that, she's pretty much useless, right? Unless they focus on her, which they're not going to. You're going to want to slap Arius on her because you want her to be taking damage. I think against maybe like AoEs, like against Landys, things like that, heavy AoE damage, she can potentially be good because it's like Crow, right? When Crow is taking damage, and so that's kind of her thing, right? You bring her in as maybe a secondary knight, but in RTA, not so much. I think you can bring in other units that potentially provide more support, because even Crow has a defense buff and a CR pushback on the S2, right? He also has a provoke on the S1, but I mean, you're not bringing him in for the provoke, you're bringing him in to take damage, to tank, right? Provide some kind of mitigation, provide defense buff for the entire team. But Yulha doesn't really do that, right? She doesn't have any kind of full team-wide support. And that's why I think that she's missing something, right? She's missing something else to make you want to bring her in RTA, because as she is now, she's pretty selfish, right? She needs to get hit in order for her to hit with the S3 to nuke out someone potentially. Unless the fight drags on, you're probably not going to do anything with her turn one, right? She could potentially set up like an anti-cleave, but even then, you would have to make her insanely tanky, right? Like 35k HP or something like that in order for her to be able to survive cleave. If she's able to survive, maybe even potentially on like a counter build where she is countering, hitting everybody with redirected provokes, that could be pretty interesting. But even then, I think instead of the counter set, you're probably better off going speed, because you want her to cut and you want her to S3. And so I think that her S2 passive is okay. It allows her to push up. But the thing is, after she goes, she's done. So she can nuke out one unit, but then that's it. She doesn't provide any other utility to the team aside from the redirected provokes. The redirected provokes will be going into her, but you'll see here we're finally able to nuke out somebody. We take out that Violet, even on a miss, even if we hit, we're probably going to take him out, but there is that. And so bringing her in RTA is because the thing is in RTA, if they pick Hwayoung, right, then Hwayoung can just kick somebody else. She can just kick somebody else and not focus on her, and then she just kind of sits there and does nothing. Those redirected provokes are really nice. I really actually like the S1 redirected provokes, 100% chance. I think it's great, but I feel that she needs something else to really make her work. Maybe like a team-wide splash damage when she gets hit, or maybe a full team cleanse and CR push. I think that'd probably be too broken, but she needs to provide more utility than she does now, compared to Crow, right, which is somewhat similar to what she does. And then if she doesn't one shot, that's it. She doesn't really do anything other than just sit there and take damage. So here's our Yulha. We did give her some Mola. She is max Mola on the S3 for that max damage, because we want to be able to one shot, right? When she's at that 30% mark, we want her to be able to take out at least one unit, right? We don't have any molds yet on the S2. I think, 20% CR push for just bot arena GVG is fine, unless you're running like really fast units. I think this is fine. We're working on getting the +10 effect chance on the S1. 100% chance to inflict redirect or provoke, I think is still really good. This would be insane if it was like 2 turns, right? Completely lock down somebody, but you can still lock them down for at least 1 turn. Here are her stats: 29k HP, 29.4, 1.7k defense, and then everything else is just kind of wasted stats. We have her on a 27 arias because we were bringing her as our secondary knight at times. So we wanted, like Crow to take more damage. And then for the times that we did bring her as our primary knight, arias, it works perfectly fine at 27. So for the most part, I think she's great in GVG, regular arena. RTA, not so much. She kind of just sits there and does nothing. I think if you really wanted to push her for RTA, maybe you push her speed up a lot more, but you're going to play the waiting game, right? Because you need to wait. It's similar to Crown. You need to wait until he gets down to a certain percentage of health, right? You want at least 50% for her. You want to get to that 30% mark in order for her to deal, at least enough damage to one-shot another unit. So there is that. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with her. I think she's great at what she does, to bait fire units. And then I think she'll be a staple moving on into the future of Epic 7 as a fire bait. But let me know your thoughts about Yulha in the comment section below. How did you end up building her? What are your thoughts about her in RTA? Have you tried her out there? Like always, if you happen to enjoy the video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you who like content like this. Like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.